Somebody, Jerry, on the chat room asked, what has been Baylor allowing our plays per game? And I'm going to get that for you, and I'll have that for you as soon as I can get that to you. And I know that it rarely has it probably got up to that point. It might be interesting to see how many Oklahoma State ran, but they had the long kickoff return that wiped out what would be a drive.
I mean, Kansas
in that game.
had a bunch of 3-and-outs, but they had 2 drives in the second half that were probably 30 plays total. Just 2 back-to-back I think they were back-to-back drives or close to it, like 2 out of 3 drives there in the second half where they went 90-plus twice. So, yeah, I think that definitely ticked it up. It doesn't seem like they get off the field very well, just in watching them in general over the year. And maybe I'm a bit slanted towards the negative just because it's kind of, what it's been mostly, or at least it feels like it's kind of been that way when you talk about the defense and especially the secondary and getting off the field and those things. We haven't had a lot of good to report. That's been a weakness. There's no doubt about it. So that's a major concern coming into this weekend. I think the first thing is just the environment and whether or not they can prevent themselves from hyperventilating because it's just going to – not that they haven't been, in a big game on the road and all that. It's just that, if things start to go sideways, can they – not drown in the noise and in the mistakes and in the crowd and all that comes with that. If they can just keep their head above water and keep their cool, I think they can fend off some mistakes and, play well. But if they can't get stops at all, like we've seen at times with this defense or secondary, then, yeah, it's going to be a really long day at the office. I'd say that just the environment and kind of the momentum in Tech's direction is like probably worry number 1. Just dealing with that, and then worry number 2 is like, how does your defense get some stops? I mean, that's the biggest thing to me.
Yeah,
well,
I don't.
Well, how do you not get off the field? What are 2 things you have to do better, and why don't you get off? Why can't you get third down stops, Paul?
Oh, well, sacks and turnovers.
Yeah.
They're not doing those. And, I've tried to wrap my head around, like, even if this game was in Waco, I still would probably pick Texas Tech because of the matchup. Now, Tech is not one away from the friendly confines of Jones A&T this year, but this, to me, I look at things on this game strictly on a matchup perspective, and Baylor's done nothing this year to tell me that Texas Tech is not their maybe biggest matchup nightmare of all the teams they have on the entire schedule. Just because of what they've done this year. Everybody else, you can kind of maybe hide some deficiencies. Look, the 3 games they've lost, it's not like they've been blown out. They're right there. They play close games. It's their self-inflicted wounds that do the most damage to them overall because that leads them not to be able to control a game and do it their way. But there's just nothing. It shows me now that Baylor's going to win this game.
No, I
disagree with that. I think they damn well can win this game. I
don't.
Okay, I do. So, yeah, I do think that they can. I think that, people have every reason to believe that they won't, and I might pick them to not win this game, but I'm not going to say that they don't have a chance to win this game. I think that's far from the truth.
I'm not saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I cannot wrap my head around seeing a scenario that they have a chance. They're very talented, especially on offense. They're very talented. I misspoke there. But what I am saying is, based on how they have played and how they have really disappointed themselves many, many times, and the way the matchups will work defense to offense, I just can't wrap my head around how the game could go for them to win it.
I know how they could win it.
I do too, yeah.
But I don't expect them to be able to pull that off because we haven't seen enough of that consistently. For example, Garrett, I'm going to send you this email. And just put up the names in the parentheses, and if you can, I don't know if you can do that. Let me know when you get to it. To give you an idea of what Baylor does is how many plays they've allowed because of the fact, even though they have disappointed in ways on defense, they still do run the ball pretty well.
Yes.
And they're going to have to do that to take out the clock, kill the clock, and also I don't think you're going to kill the crowd by any means, but to try to also then you kind of soften that a little bit if you take the ball and keep it away from an explosive offense.
Well, I mean, and even if they don't, they're an explosive offense too, or can be. They will probably lean heavier on their run game because, I think you want to keep the ball out of Tech's hands as much as possible, knowing that they're going to want to squeeze you to death. But, you get a couple stops. You don't allow them to have 15-play drives, and you actually don't fumble it inside the 15-yard line twice like last week, and you actually put points on the board. I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, I think that they can be in a shootout with Tech. I think that they can score not like necessarily all night long, but I think that they can score points on Tech's defense, and I expect Tech's going to score points on their defense. So I think they can win in a shootout. I think that if it muddles down and becomes kind of a bogged down game, I think they're the better running team. I think they're the better run defense. So it's to me, and it sounds like so cliche, but really it's like turnovers. It's turnovers and your emotional state going in. Is this going to be the young team that kind of freaks out and like one thing goes bad and then everything unravels, or are they going to be the team that like, okay, we overcame that, boom, we're right back to being focused? Like the mental part of this for Baylor to me is the biggest thing.
But we haven't seen that.
Well, yeah,
that's why I can't wrap my head around
right,
it.
but I'm saying like if they can do that, like, because at some point you'd think that they're going to have to, and maybe it's not this year. And if it's not this year, then they lose on Saturday night. But if they can find a way to find that place, then they absolutely can swing with Texas Tech. But you're right. The part that's missing is the big concern, the fact that they haven't been able to show that they can do that for 4 quarters. So I totally understand that. But yeah, just going toe-to-toe, they can do that with Texas Tech.
Well, here is Garrett, do you have it available? Okay, we mentioned that Texas Tech is just rolling along with Kitley's offense. Here are the number of plays, and I don't have the title there, I apologize. This year, Baylor has allowed these number of plays to their opponent. Now, obviously, Albany, they dictated everything. Brigham Young, slugfest, about even. Brigham Young ran 73 plays. They're not known as a run and shoot or up-tempo team, although Jaron Hall had some drives. Texas State, 70. Iowa State, they jumped into their grill pretty quickly. They got a couple of things that happened early, and Iowa State played comeback and threw the ball a lot, but they still dictated that game until a couple of things happened in the fourth quarter, which reminds you in a way there as almost what happened against Kansas here. Oklahoma State got them. Highest number of plays in a game, 76. Second highest number of plays, West Virginia, 74. Kansas, 49. They dominated again. Even then, even when they held Kansas to 49 points, no kick returns or punt returns for touchdowns, a long fumble return that set up one. They get 49 plays, and it still was a bang, gang in the last 5 minutes. They did not win a shootout, though, against West Virginia when they lost 43-40.
Well, I see a trend there. In all their 3 losses, there have been more than 70 plays. And Texas State was a game that they ran a lot of plays, and Baylor started kind of sluggishly in that one where it wasn't a game, but it like – they weren't dictating the tempo like they wanted to early in that game. So not surprised to see, Jake Spavital's offense get to 70 plays of that. But look, if they're losing the 3 games when they're giving up 73, 74, 76 plays, letting a team run 80 or 90 probably doesn't work out well for them.
No, you're probably going to lose. I mean, you probably will. So yeah, it's going to be key for the defense again to get off the field. I mean, it's kind of the same thing at turnovers and penalties, and your offense got to convert in the red zone, and your defense has to get stops. And, all that, the same thing for every team in every football game. I get that's kind of what it feels like. But, I mean, that's true. It's what it boils down to, right? 90% of the time, those are the things it boils down to. Why has Baylor lost games? Turnovers and penalties and not being able to finish drives and not getting stops on defense. So, if they show some of those same warts, then Tech will, put a 50 burger on them, if not more. If they actually go out there and, play to their best capabilities, then, yeah, I think that they've got more than a puncher's chance. But I understand the uncertainty and the uneasiness that people have with them going into this game for a variety of reasons. I totally get it. I just don't think that it's all for naught. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so those are some numbers. Texas Tech and Baylor, 6:30 on Saturday.